Hey guys, I'm John. Welcome back to my shop. Today I want to show you a quick tip on how adding an accessory fence and replacing the insert in your miter saw can dramatically increase the speed, accuracy, and quality of your cuts. Stick around. One of the issues when it comes to using a miter saw is that the insert and fence leave gaps beneath and behind the workpiece. They're actually designed this way on purpose to accommodate miter and bevel cuts. Another issue is accuracy. Even with a laser, you can only get really precise on one side of the cut. Here I'm demonstrating that I've set up my laser to show me the left edge of the saw curve. But if I want to cut the other side, I usually have to line it up as best I can and then make progressive cuts to ensure that I cut to that line. This ends up taking more time and is much less accurate when making repeated cuts. You'll also notice that on the bottom and back side of the cut, the fibers have torn out because they were not supported throughout the cut. This is nowhere close to a finished quality cut. To solve this problem, I decided to add a zero clearance insert and fence to my miter saw. I start by loosening the factory insert and spreading it as wide as it will go. After tightening it back down, I apply a piece of painter's tape across the gap in the insert. I then lift the insert out of its place and take careful measurements for the thickness of the insert plate. In my case, a piece of 1/2-inch plywood was a perfect fit, but you may have to plane down your stock to fit your saw. I took the insert over to my bench, turned it upside down on the new insert stock, and then carefully traced all the way around it. Make sure you trace the holes for the screws at the same time. Next, I took my new plywood insert over to the bandsaw, where I carefully cut close to the line. If you don't have a bandsaw, a jigsaw or even a coping saw will accomplish the same thing. Once I had the insert roughly cut out, I took it over to the oscillating spindle sander and sanded right up to the line. Again, this tool is not necessary, but sure makes it a lot quicker and easier to get nice clean lines. You could do this with a sanding block or a piece of sandpaper wrapped around a dowel. I took the insert back over to my bench and broke the edges with a file to keep them from splintering. I then gave it a thorough sanding and checked the fit. I used a small straight edge to make sure that the insert was flush with the metal bed. Remember, the purpose is to support the workpiece and ensure a nice square cut, so you need this to be very accurate. I took the insert over to the drill press and drilled the holes for the screws that will hold it in place. I then countersunk those holes so the head of the screw will sit well below the surface of the insert. I took the insert back over to the bench where I applied a thin coat of armor seal to give it a bit of protection, and then install it in the saw. I checked again to make sure it was flush. If yours is not, you could always plane the bottom or shim it up with washers to get a good fit. Next, I went over to the table saw and cut a piece of 1/2-inch MDF for a fence. I didn't want to use anything too thick since that would reduce the cut capacity. I chamfered the edges, which can be prone to chipping on MDF. This also allows sawdust to settle under the chamfer instead of pushing out your workpiece away from the fence on repeated cuts. I took the fence back to the miter saw where I installed it using screws through the back of the factory fence to hold it in place. After making a cut through the new fence and insert, you can see how easy it is to line up a cut from either side. All you need to do is line up your pencil line with the kerf in the fence, and you're guaranteed to get a much more accurate cut. This speeds up the process a lot and leaves a nice clean cut since the workpiece is supported by a zero clearance fence and insert. This is a quick, easy project that you can get done in an afternoon, but it makes a huge difference when it comes to the speed and accuracy of your miter saw. I hope it's inspired you to get out in your shop and make a set for your own saw. If you like this video, please make sure and give it a thumbs up. Leave any comments in the section down below and I'll answer those the best I can. And make sure you subscribe to my channel. Really appreciate you watching. We'll see you in the next one.